Welcome to the Awesemo Early Bird Podcast. It's your old pal Emac coming to you for Thursday NBA action with one Dave Loughran, Lofty D as he is known on the Twitter machine. How are you doing, my fella?
Not bad, not bad. Got the Sixers playing right now. Knotted up, 82-82, 4:50 to go in the third. And B just got a made basket with the N1, converted, made it a three-point play. It's a big game for the Sixers. Big game for the Celtics, too.
That is quite important. I got the Wizards in Chicago going on. I haven't looked because I was doing dinner with my wife, and then we had to watch a show because, I'm trying to not be the full DFS absentee husband, but there we are. But we've got a six-gamer here.
I try and do the same, actually. We made dinner. I made it tonight because she didn't get home from work till 8, so I figured, hey, I'll be a decent fella. And I get home. We got it on. I got the TV. The TV's on the wall, and I got it on a mount. One of the mounts where it's movable. It's got like the 180-degree radius thing. So I just pulled it out so I could see it from the dining room, and I muted it, watched. She even got into it when Marcus Smart shoved Embiid and got caught a flagrant 2 for it, got ejected. But, yeah, man, late dinners for both of us. Now we're here to talk about a six-gamer. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, I had made on, what day is that? Monday, I made ziti for my sweetie, 2 different kinds.
Look at that.
Sausage. She likes the ziti, and then I change it up every time, whatever else I put in. Pasta sauce. Sometimes it's cottage cheese. Sometimes it's ricotta. Sometimes it's mozzarella. Sometimes peppers, stewed tomatoes, Italian stewed tomatoes, onions. You can shake it up. And she always laughs. She's like, I like this, but I know we're never going to have this again. So there we are. All right. Well, we've got a, 2, 4, 6 gamer here. We have one team on a back-to-back. That would be Utah, who is playing in New York on Wednesday night. They will be playing Thursday night in Atlanta. Should be a winnable game for them. We're just going to get down to brass tacks here. We do have a reminder. Check out the Awesemo Twitter and then any of the Awesemo articles on the main page. Most of them are free for the NCAA tournament, which will be locking, I want to say it's around noon. I always default to the old West Coast life, even though I've been out here for about 12 years. So I used to always be able to wake up. I would take that Thursday and Friday off from work and enjoy the games. I don't follow college basketball so much anymore, but we do have a Awesemo bracket there on Yahoo. You can find that. I believe there's going to be a couple extra added prizes there, and then some free content. Alex breaking down what he's doing for the tournament and the picks and brackets, which has been some interesting reading. If you're on the West Coast, well, wake up early or stay up late because we're going to post this in about 45 minutes. If you're on the East Coast, you got till about lunchtime to hook yourself up. Lofty, let's take it from the top here. You've got point guard, some intriguing options as always. We have – did I do this right? Wait, is Charlotte – no, Charlotte didn't play tonight. They were last night. So we got De'Aaron Fox. Oh, my God. Did you believe Brooklyn won 25 down in the fourth quarter last night?
Crazy.
And they ended up winning. D'Angelo Russell. I said, yeah, I'm going to suppress D'Angelo Russell. Spencer Dinwiddie has led the team in scoring 5 of the last 7 games. I'm going to go with Dinwiddie because I think people are off him. Rolling with Kojo. I don't need Tyreek Evans. I did not make money. Fortunately, I got back 62% of what I put out, and I feel fortunate for that, Lofty. But we got a new game ahead of us here. Point guard, the world is your oyster. De'Aaron Fox, Trae Young, Steph Curry. What do you got for us?
All right. Well,
the Wizards are on a back-to-back as well. I missed that one. I was only looking at visiting teams. They're home against Denver after being on the road in Chicago on Wednesday night.
Yeah, we'll get to Karl Anthony Towns at that absurd price point later. But Luka Doncic is still sub 9K. He's on a back-to-back, but I don't really care. I do think he's fatigued, and it's something I worry a bit about, but not when you're under 9K on DraftKings. That's hardly a concern. And I'm just going to keep playing him until his price point mirrors his production, which has yet to be the case. Do we have a status? Do we know what Cousins' status is yet?
We do not. Let me see if there's been any update.
I thought he was expected to play. Not sure though, but doesn't matter. If Cousins is out, if he is out, he's expected to play. That's right. If for some reason he doesn't, I'll keep running Curry out there. He's been very good from a usage and per minute standpoint with Cousins off the floor this season. Cousins has had a big impact on him. Kemba Walker's price point continues to fall, though. 8,100 against Minnesota. This game, I don't have a total on it yet, but I'd expect it to be around 227, 226 or so. Should be a fair amount of scoring. Two poor defensive teams. And then Donovan Mitchell also on a second leg of a back-to-back. I guess we can talk about him as shooting guard, but he's got Atlanta. Really tough not to like him. He's going to get some rest tonight. It's still early in the night. It's only about 9 p.m. Eastern, but they're just beating the piss out of the Knicks, just as the Raptors did the other day. So I would expect Mitchell to sit the entirety of the fourth quarter. Should certainly help him out going into Thursday's slate. As far as value goes, though, there really isn't much. You got Rubio, who should also get some rest. Not that it matters. He's been playing 25 minutes a game. I still like him here, though. Collison, who knows if he's active. If he is, I like him at 5,800 against Golden State. Wouldn't really have much interest in Corey Joseph, especially seeing how McMillan was real quick to just pull the rug out from underneath him. And then the last one here, he's very scoring dependent. If I didn't mention De'Aaron Fox, I think he's fine as well. The mid-range is very deep here, but Jamal Murray's super scoring dependent. But against Washington, a team that's just been hemorrhaging fantasy points all season long to point guards, Jamal Murray is one guy who at 6K flat makes for a very, very solid option in tournaments.
All right. Want to give a little additional. There's going to be on the Osmo homepage, click on the March Madness betting and DFS content schedule. It is a free article. There's a link to the Osmo March Madness bracket challenge. We will be adding extra prizes. Let's see. It's on Yahoo, so you can also enter that into the Yahoo Tourney Pick'em. 1 million going to the best bracket. They've done away with the perfect bracket for $1 billion. But whoever gets the best bracket closest to the pin will gain $1 million. The Osmo contest is password is Osmo. So check that out. And then there's a bunch of articles here and stuff from Alex himself, who does a fair amount of college basketball stuff on the side, not necessarily DFS, but he does some gaming. There's some wagering and other things going on. Looking at the rest of our point guards here, Laffy, as we dip on down, let me get the proper filter set here since I went foolishly to yesterday's games, which is why I missed Denver Dallas, Utah, and Washington are the back-to-backs. Looking at some of the cheapies here, we've got Monte Morris, who's been picking up some additional run here, although we did see a little siding there from Isaiah Thomas, but I still think that Monte Morris is the way to go. He's going against the Wizards there. He's relatively cheap. You've got Tyus Jones. We have seen Derrick Rose and Jeff Teague both out for the last 4 games. They are going to be dicey once again. We have to wait till we see what's going on with the news. But you do have discounted Tyus Jones, potentially Jared Bayless coming into play if both of them are out. Anybody here on the discount bargain bin, perhaps a Ricky Rubio, who tends to crest up a little bit in minutes. He's gone through 4 straight blowout-type situations, Laffy. He'd been dealing with a hip injury and a hamstring injury. Do people know that he's really okay for 28 to 32 minutes?
Already mentioned Rubio, but
sorry.
It's all right. He's the only cheap guy I have any interest in at point guard. Monte Morris, I don't need to get to 27 minutes now that he's above 4K.
All right, let's dump on over here to the 2 guards. Buddy Hield, 7,000 on DraftKings. Disappointed some here and there, but he is still taking 7.5 shots from beyond the arc on the season, and he is shooting 46.5 or 45.5%. That's down just a tick for his recent performance here. Do you like him? Are we thinking maybe a Bradley Beal, who's getting literally all the minutes? And how is Bradley Beal? Adam harps on this, but how the hell is Bradley Beal only shooting guard eligible? Come on, DraftKings.
Yeah,
he's playing.
Yeah. He needs point guard eligibility for sure. What are you going to do? At least a lot of other guys have it. Now, Beal's a strong play. The only problem is with the amount of minutes he plays. On back-to-backs, I always have a little bit of trepidation, just that, you play 40 minutes one night. How many minutes are you going to be playing the next night? It's halftime right now. He's played 18 minutes. He's on pace to play 36, but he'll probably play more in the second half. So I still don't have an issue with Beal. I prefer Doncic, though, against Sacramento, who, by the way, is shooting guard eligible now. Thank you, DraftKings. That is huge. He is the best shooting guard for the price here. 8,900 against the Kings. Big time pace up matchup. They lead the league in pace on the season. 229 total. Just there's really nothing not to like about this spot for Doncic. I really couldn't name anything outside of worry that he might be dealing with some fatigue. But again, the price, it's baked into the price tag. Aside from that, it's a pretty rough position. Like you have Satoransky, who's fine. And then Buddy Hield continues to be underpriced against Dallas. I have no problem with him. He is definitely seeing some recent shooting woes. There's no question there. But the minutes remain consistent in close games. You're going to get him. I'm presumably still very cheap on DraftKings or FanDuel. He is $7K, so still underpriced there. And then Andrew Wiggins, only because he's cheap. Outside of that, I have no interest in Andrew Wiggins. Now that I guess the question would be when it comes to Charlotte dealing with the injuries. So I know Cody Zeller is not expected to play. Outside of that, MKG is out on the concussion protocol. And that's pretty much it. So nothing big there, which means that I don't really feel confident going to any of those other ones that we do go to when there's injuries. Jeremy Lamb would be the one, guys. His price is coming up. I don't love paying for him there, but I would assume in this, he probably gets upwards of 32 minutes again. He's been playing really well, adding some peripherals along with it. So in a game that I expect to be competitive, him and Nick Batum, just because he's very, very cheap. The only concern I have with Batum is, does he continue to get big minutes down the stretch with Charlotte out of the playoffs? They're let's see, where are they? They're 3 games back, so they'll probably Borrego will probably still keep running them pretty heavy.
And that's the one thing we do have to consider here with the Wizards as well. They're down to a 2% chance of making the playoffs. They're still gunning for it, but hey, who knows what is exactly going to happen. Once they are out, I think the minutes are going to fall off dramatically for Bradley Beal. So just take care on that one and make sure you know what's going on. Also, I see we're not broadcasting live. However, on the Osmo YouTube channel over there at Osmo, just type in Osmo on YouTube. You can get to it. Hit that notification bell and subscribe, and you'll know whenever we go live, because we're running 4, 5, 6 shows a day. We do have it looks like a golf show going on right now, and then we've also got a couple different broadcasts for the NCAA tournament. You've got one featuring Alex Baker. You know him as Osmo, so check that out. The rest of shooting guard, a lot of questions here. Fortunately, Adam is going to be writing the deep dive column, and he'll have to see what happens. And Laffy, we have seen every slate for the last 3 days turned on its ear. It's like the NBA just waited to this week so they could officially welcome in their own March Madness. And we've got people who are sick, people who are resting. It has been an absolute mess. That should continue. So let's look over here at small forward. We have Kevin Durant up at the top, 9,100, reasonable price point, though Boogie will be back. We are expecting him back. Tougher matchup here against Indiana. You've got Andrew Wiggins dipping down to 5,800. He's up a tick a little bit on DraftKings from where he was before. Dropped a 40-burger in his last outing. Played 41 minutes there against the Golden State Warriors. He's going against Charlotte. Minnesota, I believe, is still gasping for some playoff chances themselves. And then you have the Bogdanoviches, both of them, Bojan and Bogdan. What do you like here at small forward?
Well, we know that TJ Warren remains out, and we know that Kelly Oubre is not playing either. So I will happily go back to Josh Jackson. Sure, he disappoints at times, but 32 minutes.
Just to be sure, you said happily. Are you sure about that?
Look, it's him or Luke Kennard.
Josh Jackson it is. Double J.
When you start getting the names like that, or Mikal Bridges, yeah, happily Josh Jackson. Look, he's going to play 32 minutes, around that, maybe more, maybe a couple less, but he'll get upwards of 30, 32, 34. And he's going to get up enough shots. He's not a terrible rebounder. He'll come up with a block and a steal, or maybe a pair of each. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Jackson here. it's not a matchup that I'm in love with against Detroit, but you're going to be hard pressed to find a lot else that you like. I mean, there's Kennard, there's Trevor Ariza, who I couldn't tell you right now what Scott Brooks is doing with his minutes. He played 14 minutes in the first half here, still halftime. So he's on pace to play 28. 28 minutes from Ariza isn't enough, even when he's cheap. Like you need 33 minutes, 35, what we were getting from Ariza. We'll see if he does get up there in a competitive game, then I'll change my tune. But not if he plays another 28-minute game, 27-minute game. No way. I'd honestly rather go to Nicholas Batum because I'm projecting him for 35 minutes, and they're basically the same price. One of them isn't really a better fantasy producer than the other. So that's pretty much where I'm at on that. The rest of the position, though, I mean, if you're just talking about the high-priced guys here at small forward, you have Kevin Durant, who has been pretty much as dreadful by his standards as anybody else at the position lately. I don't have much interest in Durant here. Even at this price, you still have – I'd rather have Doncic at a $200 discount at shooting guard. I'd much rather have that, especially with Cousins expected back. And then other than Hield, who's eligible here, a couple guys we mentioned, Jeremy Lamb and such. No, there's not a lot here whatsoever. I'd rather go cheap with a Josh Jackson and, a Batum if I have to.
All right, I'm going to throw out a Jay Crowder. Now, Derek Favors did get the start, and through the third quarter, he's played about 19 minutes. He's dealing with a sore hamstring. The Jazz are 7.5-point favorites already. They're in New York tonight. Tomorrow, they will be in Atlanta. So potentially we could see Crowder with an uptick in minutes, a little bit of mop-up duty. He can handle a variety of things that Atlanta will throw at him. You've got Jingles, as you like to call him, Lofty. You got Joe Ingles here. He's in the mix. In the event they decide to let Rubio relax a little bit and hand over some of the ball handling, Ingles can definitely run things down there in mop-up duty. So do not overlook some of these tertiary plays on Utah for some potential upside in this one. I'm laughing. I'm looking at the box score. Ricky Rubio has scored 12 points, Lofty. He's made one bucket. Perfect from the field. He's also perfect from the line, 10 for 10. Oh, basketball, so much fun. You know what gets really fun? Baseball. That's where the weird numbers happen. Shout out to my Mariners who have the best record in all of Major League Baseball, Lofty. They won in Japan this morning for us on the East Coast. It was afternoon there in Japan. They're playing again. There was not much overlay. We will have additional projections and other content up for the actual opening day there on Osimo. I do want to point out that there was about 4%, not even overlay, but 4% of the tournaments were not filled on FanDuel and DraftKings combined, and there was only a $35,000 prize pool between the two of them. So that is why we did not race off to get some content on there. I think that's going to hit up all the small forwards. We have so many question marks out there still. Other value will pop. Let's move on to power forward, Lofty. We do have Paul Millsap going against the Wizards. That's a phenomenal matchup. You've got Blake Griffin, got a day off for some maintenance here. He's going against Phoenix in Phoenix at 7,800 there on DraftKings. He has, well, not exactly made us happy, but I don't think he's really totally disappointing us. And then Marvin Bagley, it looks like the minutes restriction has been lifted. Sacramento, again, still has a tiny chance to make the playoffs. I didn't think they would push Bagley too hard, but he did play 29 minutes in his last game. He had missed after that overtime loss to Milwaukee 2 weeks ago. He wrenched his knee, missed about 10 days, but he is back. He has looked fantastic. I still think 28, 29 minutes is about all we're going to see from him, but I do like him at his price point. What do you like here at power forward, Lofty?
Blake Griffin's cheap. That's about it. Outside of the price point, there's not a whole lot I like. Paul Millsap against Washington. They've been terrible against power forwards. Dead last or bottom three in almost every relevant statistical category this season. Bagley. I was on Bagley on Tuesday. I'm happy to go back to him here again today. The only problem is Tuesday he was completely overlooked, and then today he's going to be a whole lot more popular. But You're still getting him at a cheap cost. I don't have an issue with it. And then we talked about Josh Jackson. John Collins against Utah, I'll fade that, even though he has been playing well and his price point is pretty cheap. I think you can do better at the same position. Bielitsa should get a decent amount of minutes here. I don't know how many, but I would expect it to be enough. He played 28 minutes despite still getting heavy minutes from Marvin Bagley. And outside of that, there's really not much. I mean, those are the guys that I'm targeting here, and I don't see myself really reaching far past that in any capacity.
And that makes absolute sense. Again, so much news is still coming out up to lock. We're going to see that for the next most teams still have about 11 or 12 games to go as they run down through the season. We have a few more robust days, and then we get into the feast or famine time here. But we have content for you, both with projections, ownership projections. We have pay articles. We have a couple free articles. But the thing you're going to want to really look to is the shows, because the deep dive, which goes off at 5 o'clock, will have most of the news. And then we've got the Live Before Lock with Fast Eddie Fear featured, and that will take you up through all of the late-breaking action. Eddie is one of the great minds that can figure out what the hell is going to happen when we see some of these oddball plays. If you want to check out the ownership projections for all sports, MMA and NASCAR, golf, all have been added. You can use the promo code EARLYBIRD, all one word, and that'll get you 50% off any package that is of 1 month in length that does include the Fantasy Cruncher add-on. Laffy, 10,000 even here at center for Karl Anthony Towns going against Charlotte. Nikola Jokic, 9,600 going against Washington. They do not have an answer for him. And then your guy, the 2020 man, he has the vision. It's Andre Drummond at 8,700 there going against Phoenix. Talk to me about the premium pivot position.
This is a very simple position. Karl Anthony Towns, Nikola Jokic, and Andre Drummond. Outside of that, you don't have to make many decisions. DeMarcus Cousins has seen his price coming down on DraftKings, 6,800. I'm okay with that. And then you have Rudy Gobert at 8,300, but still it's going to be tough to get there. I prefer Drummond. I prefer Jokic. I prefer Towns. There's no two ways around it. These are outstanding spots, all three of them. And if they're not great spots, they are. But even if they aren't, all of the prices are great. Drummond, too cheap. Jokic, too cheap. Towns, still too cheap. What else do you need to do here? If you want to talk about value plays, you can, but you're not going to come up with anything that comes even remotely close to the value of these guys. Just look on a point per dollar basis. It's very rare that you have guys like Towns, Drummond, and Jokic at the top of the position when they're priced up, but you do today, which means that I have no interest in even looking down here. Dwight Powell against Sacramento, fine. Horrible rebounding team. They struggle against opposing bigs. But that would be it, especially if Powell's with power forward eligibility on FanDuel. That's it. There's no other reason to get cute here. Even with Cousins, I don't mind Cousins, but what's his ceiling really right now? Towns, Drummond, and Jokic. These are the three guys at the position. Do not care if they're chalk. They are that good of plays, and they are way, way, way too inexpensive for their upside, for their ceiling. It's pretty simple here. It's actually as simple as their center hasn't been this simple all season long.
No, and I think you're absolutely correct there. One thing I do want to point out, we do that free article, the Cash Game Building Blocks article by yours truly. Give you a couple good chalk, bad chalk, good plays, and the Fantasy Cruncher tip of the day. The one thing I do want to point out is we have Willie Cauley-Stein and Harry Giles. You want to set a rule. If you go look at the past articles, we've got a different rule or different recommendation or tip each day. Got some screenshots in there. Of course, you can always talk to me in the Fantasy Osmo Slack or on Twitter, and I'll try to help you out with that. But we have Harry Giles and Willie Cauley-Stein heading into the last game. They have played 32 total minutes together. So I have a permanent rule set that I will not play them both on the same lineup unless it's a late slate. I also do the same thing with Brooklyn between Jarrett Allen and Ed Davis, who have played 8. That's right, 8 total possessions, not minutes. possessions. I'm assuming they were both in doing a little rebounding with some late free throw action. But these are some of the things you want to check out. Laffy, Adam, Josh Engelman are all great about reading the game flow box scores. Check out the DFS strategy show, 9:15 weekdays, 11:15 on Saturday. And we'll do a leisurely walk game by game through everything. But this is the Early Bird Podcast, your foundational podcast. We've got some baseball coming up, and we'll make that switch there. Still throw out a few things for NBA as we continue on for the crossover 10 days. But otherwise, we're going to get on out of here. So thank you, Laffy, for joining me on a Wednesday night. We've got Laffy out there on Twitter at Laffy_D. I am at EMACDFS, and it is Osmo_COM. Subscribe to that Osmo Twitter feed. You're also going to get notified anytime we post new content. We have a fair amount of free stuff, fair amount of behind the paywall stuff, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. With that, gamers, good luck.